It continues to astound me how well these actors that are trying to promote and market these movies from Marvel are able to destroy my excitement, destroy my hype for these properties. And that is exactly what Simu Liu has continually been able to do over these past couple of weeks every time that he opens his mouth to talk about this Shang-Chi movie. So, we're going to be talking about some new comments that he just made that are just as infuriating as many of his other past comments. In fact, in some ways, these are probably some of the worst comments that he's made yet, which is somehow, I mean, apparently that's a thing. Apparently he's just going to continue to try to outdo himself leading up to the release of Shang-Chi. So, Shang-Chi's Simu Liu claims, I thought playing a guy that gets beaten up by a main character was the pinnacle for Asian actors, which spits directly into the face of many, many, many Asian actors throughout the decades who have been playing these incredible roles. People like Bruce Lee, people like Jackie Chan, people like Jet Li, and many, many others. I mean, those are just the icons, but there are many, many other actors and actresses who are of Asian descent who have been in many, many movies where they are the badass, where they are the good guy, where they're the one that are carrying those films. And Simu Liu is completely ignoring all of that. Completely. 100%. And it disgusts me that this continues to happen. I mean, even if you just want to look at Marvel itself, and I think that Bounding Comics makes a point about this in this article here. If you just want to look at Marvel itself, right? Like, look at Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which has been a show that has been ongoing in the Marvel Universe for a very long time, who has two Asian actresses who are some of the biggest leads in that show, who are great, who are absolutely great. May, the character May, she is fantastic. And Sky, or whatever you want to call her, Daisy, she has so many names, but she's great too, and they completely 100% carry that show, and they carry it well. It just blows my mind that this is, I mean, this is just disgusting. I'm sorry, this just is. He is playing the victim, he's turning himself into a victim, and it's pathetic. Simu Liu has continued to ignore history in order to virtue signal for brownie points in the here and now, as the actor recently doubled down on his self-centered assertion that his upcoming Marvel film Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings will finally show audiences an aspirational Asian hero. Never been done before, folks. Never been done before. Liu revisited his pompous rhetoric during an August 31st Reddit AOMA session hosted by the R Marvel Studios subreddit. Throughout the online Q&A, Liu not only chose to respond near exclusively to softball questions with answers that felt forced and scripted, but in one particular instance, outright ignored a series of questions of genuine substance. Sounds about right. Presented with a series of 5 questions by... Okay, so these are basically... you know, he goes into all sorts of stuff, but the one that I really want to focus on is this one here, where someone asked him, as an Asian actor, how difficult was it for you working your way up? Did you have to deal with racism, stereotyping, typecasting, etc. during that journey? Can't wait to see the movie, and you're an awesome person, you Asian person, you. Oh my gosh, it drives me up a wall. It aggravates me how much everyone is just so freaking obsessed with race. Like, that's the only defining factor. It drives me up a wall. It just does. Let's put it this way. This is Simu Liu's response. In 2012, when I started out, I thought that maybe if I worked really, really hard, I could be a guy that gets beaten up by one of the main characters one day. That was the pinnacle for actors that looked like me. I'm ashamed to say that I've put on the most ridiculous and offensive accents in the past, all because I thought that it was more important to give the casting director what they wanted than to be true to myself. Over time, as I toiled about in the industry and struggled to find my footing, I started to realize all of the ways the industry discriminated against us, and that if we needed to become the masters of our own narrative, because the way that we were being portrayed was not positive or authentic. That's why representation behind the camera is just as important as in front. And oh, what is that I hear? Absolute silence, because no one is arguing that fact. Literally no one. I mean, like, these people continue to say these things. Like, representation behind the camera is just as important as in front. They continue to say these things like these are issues of debate. Like, people are arguing this all the time and screaming about this and trying to stop Asian people from being behind the camera and all that stuff. And it's just like, it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. Like, no one that I know has ever, and like literally no one that I know has ever said, I wish that there was less Asian people working in Hollywood. Literally, I mean, sure, there's probably some people out there that do say that. I'm not denying that. But they're acting like this is like an actual huge issue, and it's just not. It's just not. So, and like I said, this is all just spitting right in the face of legends of the past and legends of today who are continuing to do great things in all sorts of different properties across the board. I mean, like, I can name many Asian actors, Asian actresses who are working in the industry in TV and movies who are doing fantastic things. And guess what? They aren't playing bad guys. They're getting beaten up by the good guys. In fact, if you want a great example of that, literally look at The Walking Dead, right? Where Negan completely bashes in the head of what's his name? Wow, it's been so long since I've seen that show because I just don't care about it anymore. I can't think of his name, but you know what I mean? Like, that's just an example where literally it's the bad guy who's actually winning in that scenario against a good guy. And it has nothing to do with race. It just doesn't. Like, it's just, I hate that they continue to try to make everything about race. Constantly. Not only does Liu's positioning of Shang-Chi as an oasis, as in a desert of Asian representation spit in the faces and careers of such legendary cinematic icons as Jackie Chan, Chow Yun-fat, Tanya Jia, Bruce Lee, whom the character of Shang-Chi was based upon, and Jet Li, but also Liu's direct MCU co-stars, Chloe Bennett and Ming Na Wen, both of Chinese heritage, who headlined Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for 7 years across 136 total episodes. And that's obviously not even the only show that Marvel has done where they have an Asian cast that are clearly not just the bad guys. They're getting beaten up by the good guys. Oh my goodness. It's driving me crazy because I can't remember the name of the character from The Walking Dead, and I'm sorry. I gotta look it up because it's driving me absolutely crazy. Why can't I think of his name? It's not even like a complicated name or anything. I just can't remember. I'm just what's his name? Where are you? Glenn, that's it. Glenn. So, you know, this is all just ridiculous, man. It's all just insane. Of course, this is to say nothing of the storied careers of the decades worth of Asian cinema and television. Exactly. I mean, they're completely cutting out the entire rest of the world on the east, in the east, right? Like, that's exactly what he's doing here. And television stars whose narrative works became Western fan favorites, including various tokusatsu and anime productions whose openly Japanese casts and characters helped establish a strong foundation for interest in other Asian cultures in the West, which is a great thing. And no, like I said, no one is arguing that. The thing that I can't stand, and the thing that many people out there can't stand, is this victim type of mentality that comes from people like Simu Liu, who want to pretend that they are the first. They are the pioneer. It's never been done before. They are the first Asian good guy ever to beat up a bad guy on the silver screen. So brave and stunning. Then that's the type of narrative that Marvel continues to push with these new movies that they're putting out. And it's a lie. It's a false narrative. It's wrong. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Subscribe if you're new here to Geeks and Gamers. I'd appreciate that a lot. And I will talk to you all in another video very soon.